Welcome back to Just Scrap Radio on bjpen.com. I'm your host, Cole Shelton, episode 1 of 2 ahead of the PFL Championship. We got an all PFL show for you. First up, we're going to be joined by Olivier Aubin-Mercier to preview his lightweight title fight against Stevie Ray. Very intriguing fight. OAM undefeated in PFL has looked very impressive since leaving the UFC. Good chat with OAM about what this fight and what winning $1 million would be like for him. We're then going to be joined by Brendan Loughnane to preview his featherweight title fight against Bubba Jenkins. Brendan has become a star in PFL. He's one of their biggest stars, obviously, since that Contender Series snub. He really believes a win over Bubba puts him among that featherweight best in the world. And then he kind of talks about what the future holds. Obviously, he wants to continue to be with PFL. He likes it, but really good chat with Brendan. We're then going to be joined by Stevie Ray to preview his fight against Olivier Aubin-Mercier. Stevie Ray, a bit of a surprise to be in the finals, obviously coming out, lost his first fight of the year to Alex Martinez. He kind of says a bit of ring rust. Obviously, that was his first fight since 2019 when he beat Michael Johnson. He then obviously was released in the UFC. We did that whole story when all that happened, and eventually signing with PFL. Lose Alex Martinez in that first in the season opener. He then has to get a finish over Anthony Pettis. He does just that, gets a second round submission win, earned a spot in the playoffs, rematches Anthony Pettis, then beats him by decision to get to that finals. He believes OAM is going to shoot early and often. He thinks he has a takedown defense to really keep his fight standing and really frustrate OAM on the feet. And then we're going to close things out talking to Larissa Pacheco to preview her PFL main event fight against Kayla Harrison. Obviously, her second time fighting Kayla. She believes this is the best she's been. She knows what she did wrong in those first two fights, and she believes she'll get the upset win and force Kayla back in the tournament for next year. Kayla said this is her last time being in the tournament. Larissa believes if she gets that win, Kayla's not going to want to go out like that, and she's going to go back in the tournament for next year. But be sure to share the show, subscribe, and tune in next week for another episode of Just Scrap Radio. All right, we're joined by PFL lightweight Olivier Aubin-Mercier, who's in the finals here upcoming. Olivier, how's it going, man?
I'm good, and you?
I'm doing well. Obviously fighting for the finals in the end of November. Obviously that was the goal going into PFL. But are you surprised that Stevie Ray is the guy going against you, or did you think he'd be the one you'd be fighting?
Am I surprised? I think the semifinal was pretty much 50-50. So I'm not surprised, but I'm for sure happy for him to be in the final. I mean, Pettis made his money, so I think one more fight for Stevie would be good. Even though he's gonna win less than I will, but it's still good for him. So yeah, no, I'm happy to see him in the final, but no, I'm not surprised.
What did you make of his run this regular season? Dropped his debut to Alex Martinez, then had the back-to-back wins over Pettis to get to the finals.
Yeah, I mean that's great. I do think Pettis had easy treatment, and I'm happy to see Stevie Ray like just take it away. So yeah, I think it's great for Stevie, and I think it's a great story too. And you know what? He did great. I'm really happy for him.
Were you kind of hoping you'd be fighting Pettis just because he's a lot more of a name guy?
Uh, that wouldn't. It's a hard question to answer because I wanted Stevie to win because I know the guy and he's a friend, but at the same time, I didn't want to fight him because I know the guy and he's a friend. So it was like a really weird situation. But yeah, for sure, all my coaches would have liked Pettis only because of the name. But personally, I don't really care to be honest. I think it would have been great for the fans in Quebec, but I mean, Stevie Ray deserved that, so I think that's okay for me.
And then your regular season run was very impressive, like the 3 wins. How happy are you with how this season played out for you?
Well, I'm pretty happy. I think I had the hardest possible season run, and I made it. So yeah, I'm really really happy. I mean, all the wins I had this season was great. I think I beat the top three guy in the division in the three fights. So I guess there is still more to do. But yeah, I do think the three best are not in the final right now after me.
Have you had to change the way you train or fight just with it being a season and having to fight so quickly after one another?
Yeah, I had to. I mean, it's really different. I said that a lot in a couple of interview, but in the UFC, when you fight that much, you're getting praise for by the UFC and praised by the fans.
Mhm.
And us in PFL is just our job. It's our job to do that. So it's kind of crazy because you really have to train. You have to be smarter when you're training. You cannot do like a crazy training every day. You cannot be like the ball in the gym. You really have to like to pass on some round maybe against people that are maybe a little bit too dangerous for injury. So it's yeah, it was different, and in the UFC you're less stressed about injury because well, if you get injured, you can cancel and fight again a couple
Mhm.
week after or a couple month after. In PFL, it's done. If you're hurt, it's done. So it's yeah, it was really really hard. I think everybody was injured in the semifinal, um, and what's great now it's that we have time to recover and to be 100% or at least almost 100% for the final.
And then with the finals being 5 rounds, like, how does that change your training?
Well, what's great with PFL too is you don't stop, so
Mhm.
your cardio don't go down, so you just build up. So I never been in that like in a good shape like this. It's crazy. Like I'm really really surprised that it's possible actually. So I guess you have to do more round. You have to do 5 round in training instead of 3 round. You have to pace. You have to be good at pacing, and you have to be smart. I think that's the three thing you have to do. But yeah, no, it's interesting. It's my first 5 rounder, and it's a good. It's truly like something great to train for. I'm really motivated for that, and it's fun. It's really fun.
Will it just be split between TriStar and H2O like usual?
Yeah, it's gonna be split between those two. Um, yeah, that's it. I'm not planning to go elsewhere for this training camp.
With Stevie, like, how do you think you match up against him?
Well, to be honest, I do think I'm a little bit better than him everywhere. Um, I think he's I think his nickname is a Brave Heart or something like this, like a Lion Heart. And I do think he has a lot of heart, so I have to be really careful with that. But yeah, I do think I'm a little bit better everywhere. Um, but he's a dangerous opponent. You know, he have like a great hook. He have a great backhand. So I have to be really careful. His style on the ground is really weird. So I have to be careful for that too. But I'm gonna be ready for the fight. I mean, uh, I I do think I'm a little bit better everywhere. So yeah, that's how I feel.
Do you think he's similar to any guys you have fought in the past? Do you think he's like a completely different style?
I do think it's a little bit different. I mean, I thought Drew Dobber that he kind of had something a little bit similar, but Drew Dobber was had a lot more cardio, a lot. He was a lot more active, a little bit trickier on the feet. I think. But Stevie, like uh, he's like he's technical. You know, there's nothing crazy going on the stand up, but you have to be careful because he take his shot and he puts some pressure. He's really good, but I don't think I fought anybody like him. I mean, I fought Archer a little bit. I think last year, who had a really good backhand and actually cut me with that. So I have to be careful, but I do think Archer had a little bit more pop. Um, so yeah, I do think I just have to be careful and not uh, I have not to do anything crazy. But yeah, I do think I fought some people with the same style, but not exactly. I think if Stevie is a little bit more funky.
With 5 rounds, like how do you see this one playing out? Because obviously you have a bit more time to work with him.
You need for the 5 round?
Yeah, like how do you kind of see yourself winning?
Oh, I don't care. I mean, I'm gonna be ready for everywhere. If it go 5 round, I'm gonna be ready for that. If it go 2 round, I would be happy, but I'm gonna be ready for 5 round.
Obviously, if you win, you get the $1 million. Have you already started thinking about what you're gonna do with the money?
No, absolutely not. I don't care. I mean, well, I do care, but money, money is money. Like if I don't, if there was no $1 million, I would have been happy anywhere. I'm there for the legacy. I'm there for the belt. Um, I think i- it's a great accomplishment to have, and
Mhm.
I'm really looking more for the accomplishment than the money. But yeah, for sure, the money would be great. But you know,
Eh,
money. There's money everywhere. There's no belt everywhere.
and especially PFL, like I think they're probably I personally think they're number two. Like I think they're right behind the UFC for like the
Mhm.
biggest promotion. So like what do you think that does for your legacy if you be the lightweight champ? Because you were already a top 15 guy in the UFC and then you add a major like world title, another major promotion. Like what do you think that does for your legacy?
I think that would be great for retirement. To be honest, to win the belt, I think it would be really really great. And I mean, in Quebec, there was a GSP who won like one of the but well, the biggest belt. But other than that, in Quebec, nobody won the Bellator. Nobody won any other belt, big belt like the big promotion. So I would be the first one to win another belt. So yeah, I would be really happy, and with that come opportunity after that. So, um I mean, yeah, I do think it's for me the belt is more important than the money.
I'm like an hour north of Toronto, so like I know the Canadian scene pretty well. Like there hasn't been a whole lot of big names like in a while. So like winning a title, do you think that would help out like the whole regional scene and get more people into fighting if they see like another Canadian win one of these major titles?
Hmm, that's a good question. I think. Maybe a little bit, but I think it would open the eye of a lot of fighters that you don't need to be in the UFC
Mhm.
to live from what you love. I think a lot of fighters right now are ready to get paid peanuts just to go to the UFC, but you have to be smart. I mean, you have one body, you have one brain, and I mean, at the end of the day, nobody's gonna remember you unless you're like a GSP. So I think it's smart to maybe try uh, to see your option. There's more and more option in MMA, and I think any fighter that is serious should look everywhere. And I think that's gonna open the eyes of a lot of fighter after that.
This is your second year in PFL. Like I know when PFL was signing a lot of people, it was just two
Mhm.
season deals. Is this it for you, or are you under contract for one more season?
I think I have one more season on the contract, but I'm not sure. Do I have one? I don't know. I don't know. But anyway, when I'm gonna be the champion, I don't think I'm allowed to leave.
Yeah.
But the question is gonna be, am I gonna fight again? I don't know if I have one more year in me. Like I said, it was really really tough. It's really tough to fight that much. Um, and well, in 2 years, I'm gonna be doing what 6 fights. So is
Mhm.
it 6 fights? Yeah, 6 fights. So that's a lot. I'm happy with that if it's the end, but I'm gonna see after the fight how I feel, and I'm gonna take a decision. Um, but I do think I'm gonna end up in PFL anyway.
So do you think this like could be the final fight of your career then?
Yeah, for sure. Why not? You don't know what's gonna happen too. So maybe I'm gonna just take the million and be happy with that and retire. That's really possible. That's possible. Maybe I'm gonna have like really good opportunity after that. And like for sure, I still love fighting. I still love training. But the thing is, for fight in a year, it's something really, really special, and you really need to be 100% there. And I'm gonna see. I'm ready to be 100% there next year.
And going out on top would be a very good way to go out too.
Yeah, I do think so. I do think so.
So just last thing then, like when do you think you'll know? Like, is it immediately after the fight you think you'll know, or are you gonna have to take some time after the season ends to determine what's next?
No, no, I'm gonna take some vacation, and I'm gonna decide at that point. I'm gonna see how the world is going to. Um, but for sure, I have to be ready. I have to start training 2 months before the first fight, so it's for sure I'm gonna be in a rush, but I'm gonna take some time to think about it.
Oh well, Olivier, that's all I have for you. Thank you so much for doing this. I really appreciate it. All right, we're joined by PFL featherweight Brendan Loughnane, who's fighting for the title here coming up soon. Brendan, how's it going, man?
Good, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Obviously, fighting Bubba Jenkins in the finals. Like, did you expect this to be the guy you'd be fighting the finals when the semifinals were set?
I mean, no, I was going back and forward in my head. Then he had an amazing performance, beat Ryoji very comfortably. So yeah, man, he's a very worthy finalist.
Were you kind of rooting for Ryoji to win just because you fought him and it was like all that controversy around it? Like, were you hoping you could rematch him and prove that like you are the better fighter?
I'm ready for either of them two guys anyway. I didn't really care.
And then your semifinal matchup, like obviously you and Chris were trash talking each other. Like, do you think it will be the same here with Bubba, or do you think it's going to be a bit more nicer, you two?
I like Bubba Jenkins. I think he's cool, but he's got $1 million bounty on his head right now, and anybody that stood in the way of me and my dream. I mean, how friendly can it really be?
What did you make of his run so far this year?
Great. I think he's looked great this year. I really do. I'm looking forward to fighting the best version of him too.
How much do you look at the Chris fight from last year, just because that's the same opponent, and just to kind of see what he did against Chris versus what you did?
I think, I don't know, I see a different Bubba Jenkins this year than I did last year. So, like, he's changed something up and it's working.
How do you guys think you match up against each other?
How do I think I match up? It's just another wrestler. I fought so many of them now. Anyone I ever fight wants to take me down, so I'll be ready for it.
Are you just kind of expecting him to shoot pretty early, or do you think he will stand for a bit?
No, he's not going to stand on me. I'm not under any illusion.
With the camp then, like with you just kind of expecting him to wrestle, like is a lot of the focus on wrestling then, or is it to like just work on yourself and kind of know that he's gonna shoot?
I'm always wrestling. I love wrestling. I think I prefer wrestling over striking right now, to be honest. So I'm looking forward to a good old wrestle with Bubba Jenkins.
Do you think though, like people just overlook your wrestling just because you're from the UK? Like the UK has got such a bad rap for wrestling for years, when there's like plenty of good wrestlers out of there. Like, do you think you get a bad like people just think you're not good at wrestling just from where you're from?
100%. My wrestling is very underrated. I use it offensively and defensively. Chris Wade was not able to take me down one time, and I was actually able to take him down. And we're talking about a guy here who gave Makachev a great fight, Habilov, beat Bubba Jenkins, and I managed to take him down and beat him up. So that's a big message to the division.
With this one, like, is it not out of the question that you shoot on Bubba and kind of surprise him with that?
I'm a very, very well-rounded mixed martial artist. So if the opportunity presents itself, that could definitely happen.
5 rounds as well. Like, does anything change in your training to go 5 rounds now?
I've been waiting for my first 5-round fight. I only feel like I'm getting warmed up in the third. I can't wait.
Yeah, because in most of your PFL fights, like, you start to kind of take over in that second and third rounds. So do you think that the 5 rounds will favor you here?
Exactly. I'm a 5-round fighter. I used to train with Dominic Cruz a lot, and he used to always say to me, bro, like, you are a 5-round fighter. It's going to be great when you get your first 5-rounder. It took a while, but I'm here.
Is there like any changes to the way you fight? Like, take it easy in that first round, or is it just kind of the same thing because you know your cardio is going to be there?
One thing I can rely on in life is my gas tank. So I'm ready to lay it all out there for 25 minutes. And if you can't keep up, it's time to sink.
How do you see it playing out? Like, Bubba's a very durable guy, like, hasn't been finished since like 2017, like taking some big shots in PFL and kind of gone through it. Like, how do you kind of see it playing out?
I think, again, I'm a better mixed martial artist than him all round, and I'll beat him in every area. I don't think he can take me down. I think if he does take me down, I'll get up within a second. I think I could potentially take him down. I've got the far superior boxing. My cardio's better, and my chin's better. He's been knocked out before. He's also been submitted. He's in with a real dog, a real guy that really wants to win. And I think that's going to show on the night.
You get your hand raised, like obviously $1 million, but you also get the belt. Like, what's that mean for you to win a world title in like one of the bigger promotions in the world?
It's great, man. I deserve it. 16 years of hard work. Now it's time to get my accolades.
I know people always still to bring up the Contender Series with you. Like, are you kind of hoping you win the PFL? Like, people stop talking about that, and now like you kind of prove that you're on that level anyways with you being a world title. Like, I think you've proven that you're one of the best featherweights in the world anyways. But like, do you think winning a world title kind of cements that and like kind of proves all those people wrong?
Yeah, everything you just said. I mean, I'm not even out to prove anyone wrong. I just really want that piece of gold for everything that I've done in the sport. So it's very deserved, and I will get it. No matter what, I will get that belt that night.
And then also getting $1 million. Like, have you thought about what you're gonna do with that money? Because obviously that's a life-changing money.
Changed my whole life, changed my family's life. I don't have any kids yet, but I'll change their life. And I won't let any man stand in the way of this opportunity for me. I really won't.
Does that does that add some motivation to the fight? Like, obviously fighting for a title is big enough, but having like that kind of $1 million check hanging over it, like, does that add a bit of motivation to this one?
Motivation, pressure, whatever you want to call it, like it's the same thing. And yeah, it's crazy, like knowing that one guy's going to walk out with a very small check, and one guy's going to change his whole life. That's why people are tuned into the PFL. I love it.
And then you've been in PFL since 2019. Like, are you under contract for next year still for the next season?
I leave that to my manager. I have no idea, to be honest.
It seems like you guys don't have a good relationship. Like, regardless, you hoping to keep on going in PFL and hope to go back to back then anyways?
I love PFL. Let's see how the end of the year looks.
With PFL, like, some people are hit and miss with liking it just because of the regular season and having to fight so often. Like, for you, you've now been in it for what, 2-3 years. Like, do you prefer this rather than fighting in like a Bellator or UFC where you don't know when your next fight's going to be, where you kind of always know when the next fight's going to be?
Yeah, it's definitely different. And I was a guy that always complained about not being able to get fights and inconsistency. So PFL throw at you thick and fast. 6 months, 4 fights. Let's go.
Is there any ever talk of maybe going up to lightweight next year if you win, or do you think you're featherweight for good?
No, I'm tiny. I'm nowhere near lightweight standard. I'm training with lightweights out here right now. It's a different ball game.
Where are you doing? Like, are you splitting this training camp? Or are you just at the usual spot for this one?
I'm in Thailand right now. Training's going fantastic. Got a great team around me. Can't complain. All systems go for me.
Do you go to Thailand often, or is this something new for you?
I'm always in Thailand. I've been going back and forward to Thailand for 10 years now.
What kind of brought you out there the first time? Like, what was the reason to go out there?
I fought in Australia on the Tough Smashes, and then I was supposed to fly back to London after the fight, and then I just realised that Australia was close to Thailand, and I was like, I'm just going to go. and I loved it. I trained with Rafael Faziev, Peter Yan, Nemkov here, like Anatoly. I just basically trained with the Russians because they train the hardest.
Yeah. And how much of a better look is that getting? Because everyone knows like Thailand, the Muay Thai striking, but like their wrestling and grappling is like, because when you get all those top guys over there, like it's not just striking anymore. Because a lot of those top guys going over there, like how much better do you think you have gotten since going out there?
Yeah, loads. Not just Thailand. I spent a lot of time at Alliance in San Diego. I've obviously done the UK scene. So, I mean, like I say, my first fight was 2008. So I've been around this sport forever and trained everywhere. So this is where I feel at my most peace.
Do you think people forget kind of how long you've been in this sport and like you fought in the UFC like years ago? Like it seems like when you're on the Contender Series, people thought like you were this new guy on the block, and even still in PFL, like I don't think people really kind of realize how long you've been doing this.
Exactly. I think that's the difference in this fight. I think Bubba Jenkins has spent his life wrestling. I've spent my life fighting, and that's the difference.
You get past Bubba, like obviously $1 million. Like, what is kind of the next few months looking like? Obviously, you could prepare for the next season. Like, is it take a bit of time off, or is it right back into training?
Take some time off, man. Like, wow, this season I've been training twice a day since January. PFL's rough, and it's not for the light-hearted, but it's worth it.
And then while this whole season's going on, like PFL signed a lot of new fighters, like Shane Burgos could be in featherweight, like they signed Thiago Santos. Like for you being in PFL, like how exciting is that to see them signing more of these big names to kind of like add more talent and more eyes to this to PFL?
Yeah, great. They're two great signings, and they're both in my division, so I'll be looking forward to competing against them too.
Are you hoping like maybe you and Burgos can kind of go right out of the gates? You can fight him, or are you kind of thinking maybe that's a finals fight and you don't want to fight him till then?
Listen, bro, they send over the name, and I fight them.
Well, Brendan, I appreciate the time. Thank you so much for doing this.
Thank you.
All right, we're joined by Stevie Ray, who's fighting for that PFL world title in a week's time. Stevie, how's it going, man?
Good, buddy. How are you?
I'm doing well. Like, obviously, finals coming up against OAM. Like, this year, like going into it, obviously this was the goal, but like, what kind of was this year like for you? Like, obviously, lost the first fight to Alex Martinez, and then back-to-back wins over Anthony Pettis got you here.
Yeah, it's been a long road. It's pretty much been a year of just training consistently, like every day, trained more than I've ever trained. So yeah, it's been tough. I'm looking forward to having a break.
How difficult was that first fight for you? Because that was obviously your first fight in like what, 2-3 years for you?
Yeah, like 2.5 years, I think it was. Yeah, I was just rusty. I just went in there, tried to fight, tried to finish him, didn't think about the scoring system. Lost a couple of rounds that I feel like I shouldn't have lost if I was smarter with my decision making. So, but yeah, that's just obviously the ring rust. The fact I hadn't fought in a long time, I made some mistakes. Mentally, I felt a little bit rusty and physically. So, but I managed to show that that was gone in the next two fights after that.
And then going into that first Pettis fight, like obviously you knew you needed to get a finish. Like how much extra pressure does that put on you? Because you're not just fighting for a usual win like you were in the UFC. Like you're fighting that you have to finish this guy at a certain time to get into the playoffs.
To be honest, I didn't feel pressure. I feel pressure every fight, but what I mean is like I felt like there was no pressure on me, or no that much pressure, because at the end of the day, I was fighting Anthony Pettis. People expected me to lose, and the way I seen it, it's just like, you know what? If I beat him but on points, then I've just won a massive fight. Yeah, I've not qualified, and if I finish him, even better. And I always go out in my fights and try and finish the fight, and obviously I managed to get it done.
And then how weird was it? Just because the way the structure works, like you submit Anthony and then you guys end up having to run it back like 2 months later.
Yeah, it worked out perfect for me. I mean, I got the probably best amount of exposure. The fact I fought the Golden Boy twice. And and the fact that it was quite a rare submission that I caught him with. Not a lot of people had seen it. So I was able to prove it wasn't just a fluke. It wasn't, I never just got lucky or whatever. And I managed to beat him by decision the next fight as well. So it worked out well for me.
And then in the other semifinal matchup was obviously OAM and Alex Martinez. Like, did you expect you would be fighting OAM, or did you think Alex was going to win that fight?
Yeah, to be honest, I like both guys. I did think that OAM would have beat him. Again, I'm probably being biased, but I feel like I would beat Martinez again if I fought him again as well. Like I said, I made mistakes in that fight, some decision making and stuff, and yeah, I kind of the exact way the fight went, I probably expected it to happen. Olivier to grind out a decision.
Were you kind of rooting for Alex to win so you could get that one back, especially in the finals?
Yeah, definitely. It would have been good to run it back because then, I get the chance to win the title, win the $1 million, and avenge my loss as well. So, yeah, that would have been cool. But, yeah, it wasn't to be.
And with OAM, like, he's perfect 5-0 in PFL, is like very impressive. Like, what have you made of his run so far here?
Yeah, good. I mean, he's fought a couple of tough guys in his last 5 fights in the PFL. Some of them I didn't think are that great. But yeah, I mean, he's a solid fighter. You can see he's well-rounded. He comes from a well-respected camp. I've trained with him before, so I know that he's well-rounded. So yeah, like, much respect to him. But obviously, I'm coming to try and take him out.
Is this a fight you thought might have happened in the UFC a couple of years ago? Because you guys are always around kind of that same spot in the rankings.
I never really thought about it, to be honest. But I knew, obviously, when I was training there, that he was a lightweight. He was in the UFC as well. But yeah, I never really thought, obviously.
Yeah.
But
how long did you guys train for? Like, was it just a couple times, or was it like a good amount?
We've done a fair bit. We never sparred too much, so we've not done a lot of MMA sparring. I'm sure we had a few rounds. We've done a lot of grappling training together. So yeah, we kind of like I'm sure we've both submitted each other. I remember I've submitted him with a rear naked choke. I remember he submitted me with a Kimura once. I know he's like a strong guy. He's obviously got a judo background. But you know what? I didn't even need to train with him to know what he's like. You could just watch him. You know what his style is. He's judo background. He's a decent grappler. Yeah, like I said, he's fairly well rounded, but he has his strengths and weaknesses, and yeah, I'm obviously coming to bring it.
Do you take anything away from those training sessions, because it was so long ago and like it was just training? Like, do you not really take much away from it?
Nah, not really, to be honest, because one, I can everything that I would be able to take away from the training sessions, I can see in the fights anyway. Just from watching him fight other people. And yeah, like you said, it was over 4 years ago the last time we trained together. And yeah, like you said, it's training. It's not exactly fighting, but nothing like major ever happened in training where, like, he was smashing me or I was smashing him. It was always just pretty equal, even when we did train, or whether we were drilling together or whatever.
And with OAM, like, obviously no secret, he likes to get these fights down on the ground. Like, how do you think you match up against him?
So I think he's probably got better wrestling and I've got better striking. He hits hard though, so he's a big dude. He hits hard. I've got to respect that. I believe I'll be faster than him on the feet. I think he said that he thinks he's going to be faster as well. I'll be surprised if he's faster than me. But yeah, I mean, I reckon once he tastes my power on the feet, I reckon he'll go back to his roots and try and wrestle me. But I'm prepared. I'm prepared for everything. Whether it's me taking it to the ground or me, I believe in my skills on the feet and on the ground. I think I'm a good grappler and a good striker, and it's just a case of feeling it out and seeing where to try and get the win. But I believe I can win in both situations.
And then 5 rounds too, because it is for the belt. Like, do you like having it 5 rounds?
I'd rather it was 1 round, but fucking 5 rounds. So it's brutal. The training for it, and the fight as well. 25 minutes, but yeah, I'm in shape. I'm good to go. I've done 5 rounds before. I'm not sure if he has, but yeah, I've done it, so I know what to expect a little bit. And yeah, fun times.
With this one, like, how do you kind of see playing out? Because like OAM is a very durable dude, like never been finished, and like he's fought a lot of guys like Gilbert Burns, Arman Sarukian, like a lot of tough guys in the UFC that couldn't even put him away.
So yeah, he's never been stopped, but there's always a first for everything. And I mean, it's pretty hard to keep records like that in MMA. Whether he has lost before. But you know what? I didn't really care if I didn't finish him. I'm aiming to get the win. Am I going to be disappointed if I beat him by decision? No, I'm going to be over the moon. So whether I beat him by decision or if I do manage to submit him or knock him out, then great. But I'm prepared and know he's going to be tough. I've prepared for the toughest fight of my life, and I'm ready to do 25 minutes of war, basically.
You get your hand raised here, like winning a world title. Like, what's that mean for you? Because I remember a few years ago, like you reached out, we did that whole story about you getting actually released in the UFC when you said you retired and all that. Like, and then overcoming all that sign of the PFL. Like, what would that be like for you to become a world champion here?
Yeah, it'd be pretty cool because it just kind of stamps the fact that it proves to everyone that they made a mistake maybe, and that I wasn't done, and that I've proved everyone wrong, and that's that I was never done, and but yeah, I feel like to be honest, I feel like I've done that now anyway. I mean, I've just fought 3 times in the matter of 4 months or something. This will be the 4th fight in 7 months. I'm active, I'm healthy, so I've kind of ticked those boxes already. But yeah, it would obviously just put the cherry on the top, to cement that kind of purpose.
And then obviously $1 million comes with it. Like, how beneficial would that be for your life? Because $1 million is kind of life-changing money.
Yeah, that's it, man. I mean, I'd like to use the $1 million to help some close family and friends and stuff. So, not so much for me. I mean, my life's, it is going to obviously be amazing if I win, but my life won't change too much. I mean, I'm still going to be doing the same thing. I'm still going to be training. I'll maybe drive a nicer car or be able to get the wife a bigger, better family car or whatever. We'll maybe go on a nice holiday, but regardless, like even when I lost, I'm going on a nice holiday. So yeah, it doesn't change too much. I mean, it is obviously going to be amazing and be able to treat ourselves and stuff to some things. But in terms of life, like this whole process has made me realize what's actually important in life, and I would never trade money for what I have in life just now, and that's obviously my kids, my wife, my family, my mum, dad, all that. Like, so it just kind of shows you what is important in life. Like money's great, but it comes and goes. And those are the things that matter.
Just a couple more things. Like, are you under contract for PFL next year as well?
I don't actually know. I'm not actually sure. I didn't think I was, but because I signed 4 fights.
Yeah.
But I don't know if that's like including the playoffs or if it's not. I don't know, to be honest. I thought I'd signed for 4 fights, so once I've done this 4th fight, that'll be my 4th fight. Technically, I would be a free agent. Not that I'm looking to go anywhere else. PFL have been, absolute amazing. I'm sure that, win or lose, that regardless of the situation, Peter and I will speak and come get a good deal online, because I do feel like I'm due a pay rise. I signed a good deal at the time, but now I've just beat Anthony Pettis twice. I've made it to the finals. Win or lose, I believe a pay rise is on the cards for next year.
Yeah, because I do think if you win, I think they have to bring you back as the champion, but like I'm not 100% sure with that, but I don't see a reason why they wouldn't want to bring you back, because all your fights have been exciting this year as well.
Thanks, man. Yeah, like I said, I always come and bring it. I'm always looking for a finish or to try and get the job done, make it an exciting fight. So, see what happens.
Well, Stevie, I appreciate the time as always. Thanks so much for doing this again, man.
No worries, man. Yep. Cheers, Cole. Take care.
All right, we're joined by Larissa Pacheco, who's fighting for that world title up at the PFL Championships. Larissa, how's it going?
Larissa, ele está perguntando como é que você tá.
Eu tô bem, obrigado.
She said she's doing good, thank you.
Obviously, fighting Kayla for the 3rd time, like I imagine you probably expected to be facing her in the finals.
Ele está perguntando se você já esperava estar enfrentando a Kayla nas finais pela 3ª vez.
Sim, já esperava estar enfrentando ela nessa final, até porque ela é a campeã, a gente sabe do desempenho dela, né, de quão boa ela é, mas eu já vinha me preparando pensando que a gente faria essa trilogia assim.
So I was expecting that. She's a champion and I know how good she is, and I've been preparing myself for that, to fight her for the 3rd time.
What do you take away from the first 2 times you fought her?
O que você tirou dessas 2 outras vezes que você lutou com ela?
Eu consegui ver onde era que estava faltando para que eu pudesse vencê-la, né? Ela é muito forte, ela tem um jogo de grappling muito bom, e o que estava me faltando nesse momento era a falta de força. Eu estava voltando 3 anos sem lutar, então meu corpo não estava acostumado a cortar tanto peso, fiz uma readaptação alimentar, então foi uma série de coisas que eu pude melhorar para poder fazer essa trilogia com ela.
I could see what I was missing after the last 2 fights. I was 3 years without fighting, and I could prepare myself, prepare my body for that, get stronger, because she's very strong and has a very good grappling game. So I had time to prepare myself for it, to get stronger and prepare my body.
How much better do you think you are now compared to 2019 when you fought her?
Quanto você acha que você está melhor agora comparado com 2019, quando você lutou com ela?
Muito melhor. Eu mudei de categoria, né? Em 2019 estava nessa transição para a categoria dos leves, então eu mudei de categoria, consegui me adaptar bem, mudei totalmente o meu corpo, trocando gordura por massa magra, então eu tive todo um desempenho que eu venho mostrando nas lutas agora, que é bem nítido.
I'm much better right now. I changed my weight class and I could prepare my body. I could lose fat mass, and now I have better body shape, and I've been showing that on all my fights.
How quickly are you expecting Kayla to try to wrestle and grapple you?
Quanto rápido que você espera que a Kayla tente fazer o wrestling ou grappling com você?
Eu acredito que no início da luta ela já queira isso, porque ela sabe que o perigo da minha mão encontrar a cara dela é muito grande. E acredito que ela ainda não tenha recebido punches desse jeito como eu venho mostrado nos knockouts agora.
I think she'll try it very fast because she knows how good my punch would be if I find her face, and I don't think she ever had a fighter against her who had my punch.
How much of this camp is just about stuffing the takedowns, or are you okay going down to the ground with her?
Quanto do treino você fez, né, pro takedown, ou você tá ok? Você acha que é muito duro ir pro chão, ou você tá ok de ir pro chão com ela? Você acha que é muito duro?
Não, é muito duro porque ela faz uma parte de estabilização ali que é muito do judô, mas eu treinei muito defesa de queda, treinei muito a minha parte de jiu-jitsu, até porque eu não sou faixa preta à toa, mas eu treinei num conjunto, eu treinei tudo, né? Principalmente a parte de defesa de queda.
Yeah, it's hard because she's really good on her game, like the judo and everything. But I've been training a lot, defending the takedowns, and I didn't get my black belt from nowhere, so I've been training a lot for that.
How do you see this fight playing out?
Como que você vê essa luta? Como é que você acha que essa luta vai ser?
Eu não consigo determinar isso, né? Ver, na verdade, como que ela vai ser, mas eu acredito que ela venha o tempo todo querer me derrubar, né? Querer me colocar para baixo para poder fazer o jogo que ela sempre faz. Mas eu acredito que, óbvio, vocês vão ter que ver para poder saber, que eu não vou falar aqui, né, o jogo qual vai ser, mas eu vejo uma grande dificuldade para ela porque ela não conhece essa minha nova versão.
It's very hard to say what's going to happen, but I think she's going to try to take me down. But I'm not going to tell you guys what my game is. But I think she'll try to take me down. She doesn't know my game.
You get your hand raised. Like, what are those emotions like? Like, you finally beat Kayla, but then you also become a world champion.
Como é que estão as suas emoções? Você entendeu o que eu perguntei?
Não, fala de novo.
Como você está se sentindo? Como estão as suas emoções? Sabendo que você vai lutar com a Kayla e que se você ganhar, você vai ser a campeã mundial.
Eu tô bem tranquila com relação a isso. São coisas que não mexem com o meu psicológico, não mexem com o meu emocional, até porque eu já lutei com ela outras 2 vezes, né? Eu já fiz essa final antes, então eu já tenho mais ou menos a sensação, né? Eu já sei o que esperar. Óbvio que eu quero ser campeã e serei campeã, mas isso é uma coisa que eu deixo para depois. Agora é só focar em vencer.
Yeah, I don't let these things affect my emotions. I fought her before. Of course, that I want to be the champion, and I will be the champion. But I know how these things are, and that is not going to affect my emotions.
And then if you win, you also win the $1 million. Like, how much will that change your life?
E se você ganhar, você também vai ganhar $1 milhão. Quanto isso vai mudar a sua vida?
Totalmente, totalmente. Eu vou conseguir comprar uma casa para mim, eu vou conseguir me estruturar financeiramente, eu vou conseguir investir mais no meu trabalho, então isso muda toda a minha parte profissional e pessoal também.
That's going to completely change my life. I'll be able to buy a house for myself, and I'll be able to invest on my career and my trainings, and that's going to change completely my personal and professional life.
Just last question. Like Kayla has said, she's not going in the tournament again next year. Do you think if you beat her, she will go back in the tournament to try to become the champ again?
A última questão, a Keila falou que ela não vai estar no torneio no ano que vem, mas você acha que se você ganhar dela esse ano, ela vai voltar para o torneio ano que vem para tentar ganhar de você de novo?
Acredito que sim, acredito que ela volte, né? Eu vou ganhar dela, então ela vai ter que ser obrigada a fazer uma revanche, porque acredito que ela não vai querer deixar isso barato. Então sair da organização assim para ela não vai ser bom. Então acredito que ela volte querendo essa revanche.
Yeah, I believe so. I'm going to win, and she will not take that. She will come back and will want to fight me again.
Well, Larissa, I appreciate the time. Thank you so much for doing this.
Ele está agradecendo pela entrevista e pelo tempo.
Eu que agradeço. Thanks so much.